have to give this public service announcement because this was terrifying. I could see how it could possibly apply to anybody. So an elder loved one left for a week-long cruise last Sunday. Then on Tuesday, my daughter's here with me at home. We get a call from this loved one. So I answer and they start saying, "Terry, I don't know what happened. My TV is missing. I have a lot of things missing and there's a strange bed in my living room." I'm like, what? Because the phone is cutting out the whole time they're talking. I'm like, what are you talking about? Aren't you on a cruise? They're like, "No, I'm home." And me and my daughter are looking at each other like, what? And we're like, "When did you get home?" They said, "Last night." And then we're like, what the hell? My daughter's like, because it's 8 o'clock that they're calling. And my daughter is like, "You've been home a whole day? And you didn't call the police or check the cameras?" My loved one was saying on the phone, they were too scared to go downstairs. And they didn't know if their car was missing. So we're like super confused because we're having to have them repeat themselves so that we could try to understand what's happening because the phone keeps cutting out. Finally, I was like, "Jules just gonna go over there, my daughter, and go check on you and make sure everything's okay. I'll call you back or whatever," because I couldn't hear the person anyways. So my daughter heads over there. This person was like, "Aren't you coming?" asking me. And I'm like, "No, I'm having my symptoms are not good today." And then they're like, "Aren't you on steroids?" And I was like, what? That was a year ago. We were questioning if this call was AI using their voice, but I was like, how would they know about the steroids and my medications and stuff? As we're talking, I'm like, okay, when you get there, like, don't go in the house and like have your weapons ready so we can make sure no one's like setting a trap or something. It was crazy, all these things going through our head. My daughter gets there. I'm gonna talk to our loved one. They're claiming they're home, so I'm gonna have them wave to you from their window. So I'm talking to my loved one. "Okay, you said you're upstairs. You're in your room, right?" And they're like, "Yes, I'm home." And I'm like, "Okay, Jules there now. Go to your window and wave to her." Our loved one keeps saying all this crazy stuff, like trying to give us directions to their house. And we're like, "We know where you live," and tell us where to park. And we're like, "We know that already. Jules there. Like, go to your window and wave to her." And then they're like, "I don't have a window." That was when I was like, something is really wrong. I talked to my daughter again, and she decides to go and check, and she sees that everything outside looks normal. There's even a package sitting outside. Goes inside, the TV's there, everything looks normal. She starts calling for our loved one. There's no answer. And then all these things are running through her mind. Maybe something happened to them and they're passed out, and part of an AI voice being used to talk to us. So then my daughter talked to our loved one. My daughter told them, "I'm here in your home. You're not home." And then our loved one goes, "Oh, I'm in the casino." A worker starts to help our loved one figure out where their room is. And then I said, telling my daughter, "Stay on the phone with them and the worker. Just make sure that they get to their room safely. I'm gonna try to connect with their friends." So I message everyone I can. Meanwhile, our loved one hangs up on my daughter. And then I call them. And then I start to be like calm and going along with what they're saying. And I'm like, "Hey, I need to ask the worker a question." My loved one keeps saying, "Oh, they're figuring out my room and stuff and helping me get to my room." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I just want to ask them a question." So I kept repeating that. And then finally I tell the worker, "I need you to take me seriously and listen carefully to what I'm saying. This person is not in their right mind right now. They think they're home. They're very confused, so I need to figure out how to connect with their friends and possibly get them checked out by any medical staff." Trying to keep my loved one on the phone because they keep being like, "I'm okay, I'm going to my room now." And I'm like, nope, stay on the phone with me, stay on the phone. So finally, I end up reaching one of my uncles who was on the trip. Their first thought was, "Your loved one is very confused. Maybe they have Alzheimer's." So me and my daughter are like, "Oh my gosh, when they get back, when they're in their right mind, we have to coordinate all of their decisions for them, and whatever they decide to do with everything in their life, we have to make sure we get it all down before they completely lose their mind," like making all these long-term plans. I just felt like defeated. But my daughter, who loves watching medical shows, she remembers stuff. Like I've loved watching medical shows since ER, and but I don't remember anything. But my daughter remembers. everything. And so she's like, we need to make sure some kind of medical staff checks out just to make sure she's not having a stroke. I messaged my uncle, can you have medical staff check on our loved one, give them my phone number so I could talk to them after so we could figure out, you know, what to do when you guys are back. They have our loved one checked, and we found out that it's a patch called Scopolamine. So this loved one was using this for motion sickness on the cruise, and the doctor explained that it causes disorientation. This whole time, because another loved one of ours that traveled with this loved one told me, I'm concerned about them because they were confused about where they were, about stories, about just mixing up words. And then I messaged them and I'm like, did they happen to use this patch? And they said yes. So it was terrifying, but at least we know now it can cause some serious disorientation. And the thing that is crazy about it is it shouldn't be prescribed to elderly. It's just insane that they keep getting prescribed this and nobody could figure out what was wrong. I'm so glad my daughter asked to make sure that they were checked then and there, and then they figured it out so easily. The thing about it is, when you remove the patch, you're not supposed to use bare hands, because if you touch your eyes, you can cause serious issues. Not everybody has issues with this patch. It can work really well for a lot of people, but it's definitely something you need to know about because it can cause serious disorientation. So that's my PSA.